This conference will now be recorded.
So thanks everyone for your patience as we get started here. I'm very pleased to have the team at RingCentral join us today to talk about the future of customer experience and how in particular their solution really allows their customers to revolutionize their customer relationships. So that's really our focus today. It's all about contact center and how things are changing in the contact center space.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So today's agenda, we're going to be looking at, first and foremost, we want to define what contact center as a service really is, make sure everyone's on the same page as far as that's concerned. I'll be doing a very brief introduction of USA Voice and Data, what makes us the experts in this area. And we'll be providing some real insight into contact center as a service solution adoption and the drivers of that adoption. We'll also be giving you a quick slide which has a great comparison of the characteristics of a on-premise contact center versus a cloud-based contact as a service solution contact center. And then we'll give you an idea of the process we take when we're evaluating provider options for one of these cloud contact center solutions. After this, we'll be throwing over the reins to the RingCentral team, and they're going to really dig into what makes RingCentral different and special, and what is it about their solution which really differentiates their solution from everybody else's out there in the marketplace. Obviously, it's a pretty busy marketplace, and there's a lot of traction there. So how do they differentiate themselves? After that, we'll be wrapping up real quickly with a couple of slides, key takeaways, what you need to take away from joining us today, and then a final slide on how would you get started evaluating those options. Again, reminder of how you can best do that. So what is contact center as a service? Well, really, it's really about call center software that's hosted in the cloud or built natively in the cloud, instead of you having a bunch of equipment on premise to provide you the contact center capabilities. What's nice about it is the providers of that software spend their time developing new functions and features and making sure it is extremely reliable, scalable, so on and so forth. And you can focus on actually leveraging the software to provide better customer service for your end customers, and also, of course, enrich the employee experience, because obviously probably the largest problem faced by any contact center is employee experience, and making sure that that's a good one to reduce overall churn in manpower, etc. So what sort of modern features, what features does a modern contact center as a service solution provide? Well, obviously the first thing, customers want to be dealt with through a number of different channels. It's not just over the phone anymore. You may have email, chat, social media interactions, even fax, and so on and so forth. Yeah, fax. People are still using fax. Who knows? Anyway, so the ability to provide lots of different channels, but provide a consolidated view of a customer is really important. Workforce management, obviously, scheduling of your agents to provide the necessary support 24/7. Quality management, obviously you need to provide the supervisors the ability to provide listen in and provide training for their agents. Performance management, everything's got to be managed, right? And we want to make sure that the performance of the contact center is well tracked. AI, artificial intelligence and knowledge management, this is huge. Not only is AI being used to provide bots to handle very common questions and so on and so forth, but it's also being used to dig into the massive amounts of data that's available in the contact center these days to potentially serve up knowledge articles to the agents who are handling particular customer questions and concerns, etc. So leveraging AI is a big deal these days. Analytics, insight, and reporting. No contact center would be complete without a very thorough overview of what's going on and providing that reporting to the management, both of the contact center and the business as a whole. Big thing for RingCentral is collaboration. You'll hear, no doubt, you'll be hearing about collaboration a bunch when Matt and Ross take over here. This is a real differentiator. The ability for folks in the contact center to collaborate with other folks within the enterprise and, of course, the end customers that they're supporting and servicing, right? So collaboration is huge. Business applications integrations is equally huge. Obviously, screen pops and so on and so forth into CRMs and CRM databases and other business applications is key to reducing call times and so on and so forth, and answering customers' questions more quickly, etc. And then finally, the feature which goes with all sort of cloud-based solutions, they need to be scalable, flexible, reliable, and have inbuilt redundancy. And the sort of reliability we're talking about these days is 4 or 5 nines of reliability. Some providers are even quoting 100% uptime SLAs and so on and so forth, leveraging cloud solutions, etc. So that's the sort of features which a modern solution actually includes. So this slide, I'm not going to go into the details here. Suffice to say, there's a very different situation between an on-premise contact center, and the characteristics are very different compared to a cloud contact center, where obviously the first thing that you'll notice is the ability to serve agents outside of the 4 walls of the actual contact center environment. So work from anywhere, super important these days, obviously with COVID, etc. But again, you're going from a capital intensive sort of buy a bunch of equipment up front and then a bunch of expensive resources to try and manage and maintain that, to a zero capital upfront investment and an operational cost with 24/7 response and so on and so forth, and reliability and scalability and everything built in. So who are USA Voice and Data? We're a leading technology solution advisor and broker. We support our clients as they look at different technologies within these sorts of areas: cloud platform, voice, internet network, etc., etc. Obviously, what we're talking today is contact center as a service, which sort of fits in the voice/cloud sort of solutions realms, and that's what we'll be focused on today. But we provide technology advisory and then brokering capabilities. So we help educate our clients on the latest technologies, and once they feel comfortable and knowledgeable about the particular technologies, we then help them source those technologies by brokering the solutions that they want with leading providers of those solutions. And by doing so, we're able to manage their expenses, negotiate better rates for them with the different providers, etc. We also provide an optional project management, implementation project management capability, which is all around risk management. Obviously, putting in new technology, there's always inherent risk. And so if you don't have resources in charge of the implementation who have experience with those implementations, then obviously that's slightly more risky than leveraging folks who manage those implementation on a daily basis. Then finally, obviously, most of our solutions these days have a built-in sort of DR, business continuity and security sort of inherent in the solutions that we suggest to our clients. So that's us. So this is what we do every day. we help businesses review these different types of solutions, and obviously contact center and contact center as a service is a huge part of our business today. So what's caused the adoption of these sorts of solutions? Well, first and foremost, obviously, you have this huge $1 trillion worth of aging telco infrastructure. Then businesses, IT shops are having the following forces disrupt what they do on a day-to-day basis. Firstly, the business comes to them and say, hey, you know what, I want to be able to support a distributed workforce and provide mobility for my workforce and so on and so forth. I need integrations with my CRMs. I need to provide a personal customer experience to my end customers and so on and so forth. These are the forces which disrupt the status quo. And then the biggest disruption, obviously, in walks COVID-19 in 2020, and everyone needs to be able to work remotely, right? So what does that look like? Well, guess what? The CCaaS market right now, apparently only 36% of call centers are actually using cloud technology. And I'm not too sure what technology they were talking about when they did this annual report, but I'm guessing that $100 billion worth of CCaaS has probably already been well and truly overtaken, as more and more people have very quickly moved into looking at these types of services and solutions. So what are the specific drivers from the business side which are driving these opportunities for these contact center as a service providers? In speaking most of our providers, we find there's about 9 different areas which their customers are struggling with, and that's why these opportunities are coming to them. And 3 of those in particular are driving probably 80% of these opportunities. First and foremost, there's a fight for talent, and to retain talent, you need to provide a good employee experience. Secondly, obviously, customer experience is king these days, and that's why we're here today talking to you about revolutionizing your customer relationships, right? You've got to provide a better customer experience because customers are very fickle these days, and if you're not looking after them, you'll soon see them walk out the door to go to one of your competitors. Finally, obviously, people are implementing new CRMs and making changes to their CRMs, and they want to improve their performance by integrating with those CRMs. Talking about fickle customers, there was a report which was run which basically said $62 billion a year of business is lost due to poor customer service. So that gives you an idea of like how big the opportunity here is. If businesses are losing $62 billion, that's a pretty good reason for making a change. So when you're considering making a change and adopting a contact center as a service solution, it's important you need to understand what are your specific goals and what are your particular levers that you're trying to just change for your business. So is it really all about enabling remote working and expanding that talent pool, or is it more about eliminating CapEx, maintenance and upgrade fees? So it could be one or many or all of these things, but it's important you identify what's really driving the project for you. And then equally, it's important to understand what sort of time frame you are thinking about for A, selecting, and B, implementing the solution. So, this is not a simple solution like a phone system. This is a full-blown contact center solution with omni-channels and you name it. There's a lot of different pieces of functionality here. So it's important that you set yourself a realistic time frame for selecting and going through the evaluation process of the different providers, because guess what? Once you've made that selections and you've implemented it, there's a very good chance that you're going to be with that solution for a long time. So I would encourage anybody looking at it to really be realistic in that regard. USA Voice and Data, we work with all the leading UCaaS and CCaaS providers, and this is just a very small number of logos here, and obviously you can see RingCentral front and foremost at the top there, and obviously we'll be seeing their solution today. So we have developed, because we do so many evaluations for our clients, we developed interactive quick assessment questionnaires that we send out to our clients to very quickly gain an overview of their high-level requirements. And then we take the answers of that and they go directly to our team of engineers. And those engineers leverage what we call our swim lane, which help us narrow down the number of different providers using these matrices that we've developed, which very quickly match end customers' requirements to the solution, the capabilities of the solution provider's solution. So, even though there's a massive amount of providers out there, by them submitting interactive quick assessment and getting that over to our engineer within, basically within a 24 to 48 hours, we will have provided a short list of solution providers that we can then demo for our clients and have them see and demos, etc. So let's now talk about how do we revolutionize your customer relationships. Well, the key to this all is focus on their experience, because we're now living in a total experience economy, right? And when I say customers are fickle, this is a really alarming slide. 59% of customers would be willing to change for a great experience. 59%. 52% are likely to switch companies if they don't make any effort to personalize their communications to their particular needs. So, again, very fickle customers. People are willing to make a change, and frankly, new technology makes it a little easier for people to make a change. So it's really important that you're listening to their experience request and their personalization of that communication requests. Totally key. And it's not just about customers, it's also about employees, right? So you need to provide an employee experience which is better, right? To help reduce your churn. So when you take a look at your traditional pain points for a contact center, number one is agent attrition. So guess what? That employee experience is absolutely paramount. Insufficient tools to provide one-call resolution, easy to view actionable analytics, delays in getting to the right person, lack of omni-channel support, maintenance moves as changes, all headaches in traditional data centers. So the experience improvements that we're looking to make are around enabling remote workers, enabling interactions with the customers, and enhancing collaboration with those customers and with your teams, handling greater interaction volumes. I don't know if you, when COVID started, you tried to go to the bank and all of a sudden the bank was closed, and then you'd pick up the phone and you called Chase and so on and so forth, and then you'd be hit with an auto attendant, and it was very frustrating. You couldn't get to the right person, right? So the number of interactions that are going through the contact center has increased dramatically as a result of COVID. So how are you able to handle those interaction volumes, right? And how do you enrich those interactions when you do have them? How are you using the data? how are you using artificial intelligence to enrich those interactions? And then, of course, customer interactions with video. Everyone wants to use video, you know. So these are the sort of typical experience improvements that many of our clients' contact centers are looking to make. So it's really time to transform your relationships with an integrated communications experience. And with that, I'm going to be handing over to Matt Christ over at RingCentral. Matt, over to you, sir. I will click on as you tell me to.
Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate that. Some great and interesting points that you brought up there as far as, the customer experience and agent experience. And that's really what the next couple of slides will hone in on. And then, let's delve into looking at an actual system, running, what does it mean and look like in a customer's hand as far as, being able to communicate. But, when you look at these statistics that are in front of you, the first and last statistics, they underlie the point that, some of the things that Sam was talking about there. 75% of customers believe it takes too long to reach an agent. And that's that time you're backing up in queue, you're waiting around, you're pacing back and forth through your living room when you've called in. And, it just, the amount of service or the quickness of service, is unbelievable in today's world. We want to be, working and living in an environment where you get instant satisfaction. A lot of people today, when we text somebody, we expect them to text back immediately. When you send an email, you pretty much expect an email to be returned, immediately. So especially when you're taking the time to reach out over the voice, you want those interactions to be as a quick as response to it, so you're not wasting time. And when you look at the newer generations, the Gen Zs and the millennials, they're probably one of the most disruptive in the marketplace today, because not only do they, um, you know, get very dissatisfied so quickly, but they're the ones that will go out onto the different social medias and broadcast their poor experience. And so that's a trail that's left out there for, the rest of your customers to see that, somebody's been very dissatisfied with you. And it only takes a couple of minutes for social media and the different channels that are out there, to really destroy a company. Look at Netflix and a move that they made many years ago. Even Bank of America made a move to charge, fees for doing certain things several years ago. Social media blew up, and those policies that took months and months of planning to do changed in a second. Then they reversed all those. So we have to be careful with what we're looking at for customer experience. Let's go to the next slide, Sam. So when you look at the ways, when things that Sam's already brought up to it is, you do want it to be as effortless as possible, with a single agent desktop. They don't need to have app fatigue in going and dealing with, 13 to 14 different types of applications that are out there. And when Ross shows you, part of the solution here in a little bit, you'll see how you can work right inside of CRMs today. So where you're not, having call controls over here, going to this section there, going to another area, looking something up. Doing and utilizing that AI and utilizing data-driven routing, can bring a lot of automation to you, and it makes that agent experience a lot better. And then when you start looking at the intelligence as far as, screen pops that can come up, the worst thing you can have in there is that saying of, can you please hold while and make sure you listen because the menus have changed. If I call in somewhere and they know my phone number, or I validate with an account number, I should go to an agent and they should be able to greet me by my name. And that's what a customer experience is about. Being able to enlighten them and greet them properly, to where you're not saying, well, can you give me your number again? Can you give me your account again? Or do you live at this address? Is this really you? You should be able to validate those customers coming in a lot easier methodology than what's ever been done in the past. And making sure it gets to the right kind of skilled agent that has the best proficiencies to be able to handle that customer experience. Because customer experience is going to start when the phone is picked up. And let's go ahead and go to the next slide there. Because when you look at the different pieces of, you can go ahead and next slide, Sam. When you
Sure.
look at the different pieces as far as the integrations that are out there, when somebody calls in and having that open platform that can integrate to the multitude of CRMs that are out there, or the back end systems, or do automation, or even have speech recognition to where you can ask a question and it can intelligently route to the correct persons. And so it doesn't matter, how it's happened. It's whether you're face to face with somebody, whether you're calling in, whether you're chatting online, doing something in a web portal, all of those types of interactions, they matter. It's that experience that you have with customers in trying to drive consistency so that there's familiarity no matter how they try to communicate with you. And it's a consistent story across the board. And when you pick up that phone as a customer and you're calling in, that's where the experience starts. It starts in the quality of the voice that's out there. RingCentral is very fortunate that we provide what we call the customer experience and the employee engagement tools to make everybody as successful as possible. So getting onto a high quality network, we're very fortunate. We've been ranked, over the last 5 years as the leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant as far as our UCaaS solution. Our contact center as a service is also the top right leading quadrant for Gartner for I think 6 years running. So we're bringing you the best of breed here in a very highly integrated solution, because all the tools that you have over in the Unified Communications as Service, those are tools that agents need. Sam was talking about collaboration. How do you reach across your team members to get first call resolution, or maybe to reach over into the enterprise to the back office folks to help drive first call resolution? Those are easily accessible tools that you have at the fingertips for the agents. And then on the customer experience side, a complete omni-channel. So no matter if you're on a chat, or if you're doing an email, or you're coming in through a digital channel, maybe WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, if you want to escalate into a voice call, with that customer service rep, go from one channel to another, it can be done very easily and very efficiently. And that's what an omni-channel solution brings to the table, and a collaborative contact center brings to the table. So let's hit the next slide, Sam. So it all starts with the customer, and you can go ahead and build that out, I think, 3 times, and then we'll get to the most of what we have to look at here. But when you look at the customer, you don't want to be in a siloed atmosphere. And even in today's world with the cloud movement, we still see customers that are siloed in how they're approaching the technology. So in having full integrations, or an ease of access for an agent to see, what their schedule is, or what their quality reviews are, or what their performance is, from a single, user interface, you have people have to log into multiple systems, even with the cloud. We don't view that as being successful to the agent. And then the customers themselves having an artificial intelligence that they can, self-service if they want to. I haven't stepped foot into a bank but maybe 3 times in the last 12 years. I like doing everything, whether it's on an app or over the web. So my preferences and what I feel, customer experience should be is going to be a little bit different than another type of person that does want to go into that face to face, or maybe pick up the phone and call in. So, whether you're talking to marketing departments or you have a sales organization, all of it has to be something of ease of use, and making sure that that first impression that you have, because you only have one chance to make a first impression with a customer. And if you do it right and you're thinking of that customer experience, you'll always be successful. Let's go to the next slide. So the one nice thing about RingCentral is no matter what type of communication you have coming in, voice, phone, social medias, live chats, emails, like good old faxing still coming in, all the different apps that are out there that you can do messaging in. Even companies have their own apps and they allow messaging in it. All of it can come through a single user interface for the agent. And that's so important, because it just takes all that app fatigue away from the agent, so they're a little bit more relaxed. And there's a great saying in the contact center industry: happy agent, happy customer. And we used to put little mirrors up, smile when you're talking, when you're in the contact center, because it makes your voice more jubilant, that you're happier, talking to customers, and keeps that pleasantness. So when you alleviate a lot of fatigue that's out there, utilizing a single user interface, no matter what channel of communication comes in, your associates and agents do far better with their customers. Plus, it allows that customer, key thing, how do they want to communicate to you? And on that channel of preference, make it available to them. It's a very simple process today that we have out there. So no matter whether it's workforce management of scheduling, tracking, and forecasting, whether it's quality management, being able to score calls, or maybe provide sentiment of the customer, doing some analytics in there. Are they happy, angry, pleased with the service they're getting? Are they talking about competition that's out there? Driving into all of that intelligence that's in recordings, or within the different metrics that you can provide in the agent conversations, or the conversations with the customers, doing self-service. All of those things matter as far as guidance and tools that you're going to have available at your fingertips. Let's go ahead and hit the next slide. So when we look at the how we break the engine down, and we start working with the artificial intelligence, the key thing is there's multiple areas that you can grab good information from. And the worst thing you can do is, the old computer saying is, garbage in is garbage out. But the ability to, take the AI and then take it to the next level, and so it opens up, the ecosystem, and enabling different types of, chatbot technology, or self-service inside of an IVR. Maybe there's compliance features you have to be concerned with, as far as what's inside of your contact center, for, making sure there's, whether it's personal information, whether it's credit card information, account information that you need to have, extracted or redacted out of calls. All of those things can be utilized with AI tools, or different types of APIs that we do with our integrations across the board there. And then the balance now is around the human capital and digital capital. This now enables brands to focus and provide that 24/7 support. So maybe you don't need as many agents, because you can have some automation in there with the different types of bots that could be available to answer questions for customers. Is it right for every customer? No, but it's a driven source today as far as how people want to try to communicate to you.
And Matt, what's interesting is, like, when AI first came, it was all about bots, right? And it was
Mm-hmm.
these virtual assistants and stuff like that, which were customer facing, right? And now it's kind of like added on to that. It has been like this agent assistant sort of AI component,
Yeah,
right?
most definitely.
It's not just serving up information directly to the customer and automating that. It's also automating, providing data to the actual agents, so that the agents can talk more intelligently to the customers. So there's
Yeah,
not a need. There's not a need to, when you think of AI, don't think of it as just customer facing, because some businesses may still want to avoid any customer facing AI. They may just want to be able to, like, improve the performance by the end agents to keep that relationship alive. So, there's definitely options now.
there is, and that's a great point there. During a conversation, engaging with the customer, things that they might be saying during that conversation, and have live, real-time suggestions to that agent, that they might say this to help handle the objection for a customer, or solve a solution or problem for a customer. So, AI is something more than just automation of bots for self-service. It is definitely a tool that can be used to enhance the overall customer experience, and educating and guiding that agent as they move through, progressiveness of a call. Very true. Okay, let's go ahead and move to the next one. And what we'll do here, we're going to get Ross ready to come on and show the system a little bit. But the nice thing about it is, when you see the user interface, the rich data that you're going to have there, and the ability to have a single user interface for all your different applications is very pleasant in today's world compared to when I started in the contact center 24 years ago, logging in and out of multiple systems all through. So Ross, hopefully I've got you teed up there, ready to go, and we'll turn it over to you.
All right.
I thought you worked on stone tablets, Matt, when you were originally doing.
Well, I didn't really want to
centers.
date myself back that far, but yeah, the old hammer chisel on stone was the starting of it.
All right. Yes, things have actually really changed substantially in the last 10 years. It was kind of stagnant up until about 10 years ago, and then really it was the new HTML5 capabilities of browsers and things of that nature, along with, excuse me, services like, public cloud services like Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure that allowed people to stand up virtual servers across, the planet, so to speak. That's what really started enabling cloud services in place. We've always had, for probably the previous 15 years, there's always a either hosted, I'm going to take your equipment and I'm going to run it in my data center kind of thing. That's been around for quite a long time. Then became from a cost perspective, the advantage of doing a multi-tenant environment where I could securely run, a virtual instance of things on my server to serve several customers, and then they virtualize the server, right? So that's really what drove all this cloud stuff from a capability standpoint. And contact centers adopted it early and fast in place because they like the flexibility. They like the flexibility of being able to scale from, I need one thing today, I need 200 tomorrow, that sort of thing, without having to buy a module or a card or a blade or a this or that. So that's what the cloud services really brings to the table, is tremendous flexibility. And what we're looking at here is RingCentral Contact Center. On the left-hand side of the screen is what we refer to as the agent console. That is what the agent typically lives and works and breathes in, and they control their interaction. So I've got phone call queues I come into, I've got chat queues and emails and all kinds of media types that flow through this. And on the right-hand side is the general application itself. You can call it the dashboards or central or the desktop, whatever you need to be. This is where you're going to see your desktop dashboards and things. This is where you're going to manage and configure users, look at things like artificial intelligence or analytics or whatever you need to be in place. And this is where supervisors and team leaders typically live. They're typically looking and monitoring activities, via dashboards or reports after the fact, that type of thing. But one of the big differences about RingCentral Contact Center is not that we have other applications that improve things like quality management, workforce management, and analytics, but it's the tight integration of those capabilities within the same workspace so that my workflow as a user is now centralized. Matt was making a comment that if I needed to go check my schedule, I had to log out and log into a scheduling program or workforce management program. In this case, it's all in one place, and they also integrate together. So for instance, I'm looking at a normal dashboard that we have in place that's looking at ACD data, but because everything's tightly integrated, not only do I have, we call these widgets, not only do I have widgets that show me the normal things like what are my agents doing and, what have they been doing over time and where are my customers, that sort of thing, but I can also integrate widgets from other modules. So widgets from my quality management thing, widgets from my workforce management, that allows me to do some very interesting things. So for instance, I may want to know not only how things are running in my contact center, but what's going on. Are my agents performing well? And what are my customers talking about when they come in? And by the way, I may want to know what they're talking about on phone calls, voice phone calls, chats, and emails all together. So what I've done here is I've incorporated a couple of our analytics widgets, focused them down into different sides of the conversation, and I have them on a dashboard in conjunction with normal ACD stuff. So this widget's telling me what my customers are talking about. Hey, they're talking about management issues. That's going up 185% over the last 7 days. Over here, how my agents are performing. Good news, they're getting more polite over the last 30 days. Customers getting transferred are going up. I might want to look at that. As a matter of fact, what if I did want to look at that? I can actually click right here on this. This will take me to the actual segments in those recordings, and I can pick one of those interactions that they were talking about. Let's pick on Chris DeLeon here. Click on play, and now I'm listening and to that interaction, and I'm seeing the recording of his desktop, what he was working on and seeing, and these little flags in here are where the analytics engine has spotted things. So there he is being polite. There's where they talked about emails, staffing questions, that sort of thing. And this is where the customer gets transferred, or they talk about transferring, that sort of thing. So that integration of those capabilities greatly accelerates and makes it easier, the workflow for either the supervisor or the agent, whomever that is. I don't have to leave and go to another application. And any work that's coming at me, for instance, as a supervisor in this space, it comes at me in my zone, and which is kind of like your inbox. So if I'm supposed to be evaluating people over here, any work that I'm supposed to be doing today is going to show up in my task list here in under the tab in my zone, and these are the people that evaluations that I'm supposed to be doing today. So I would click on, we'll pick on call in here again. I'd click on call in. Up would come the form that I'm supposed to use to evaluate them. Up would come the recording of the interaction. And then I can roll through, listen to the interaction, save it as a draft, or send it on to the agent. And if I send it to the agent has a similar interface. So when I say open WFO, this is going to open up kind of the My Zone inside of the Max Agent console. So my evaluation is going to show up here. If I need to request time off, that's here. I'm not moving somewhere else to do my work. And my schedule, for instance, shows up right here in the main interface on what I'm doing. So as a supervisor, if I'm doing things like moving Ross's schedule around because he needs to do something else at a different time, I can come in and find Ross, and let's just move, where are we? Let's move this break later right here. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And a couple of things. When I moved it, it also shows you my impact on my organization across the top. I'm less staffed now, or I'm overstaffed or understaffed. And when I go ahead and save and publish that, agent's going to get a notification, and his schedule is going to change in real time. So that capability of being able to make adjustments, whether I'm doing evaluations or I'm doing things in my scheduling modules, and have them quickly and easily flow to the agents, regardless of the interface in, is one of the big differences in this platform versus really anything else on the market. Everybody else is typically selling, they've partnered with the WFO pieces of the pie as opposed to it being integrated into the product. Reporting wise, we do the things you would expect. We've got some standard reports that we have in place. Those reports are grouped around agents and groups of agents and skills and groups of skills, that kind of thing. And in all cases, when you run, this is one of our pre-configured reports. I'm looking for a particular interaction that I have in place. I've got things I can use to filter those interactions. Keep in mind, this is a multimedia platform. So one place to look at all these different media types. So I can pick, say, just give me the phone calls on this particular skill done by this agent, or whatever detail you need to go find those interactions, and then those will help you go find the particular interaction you're looking for in place. And then, of course, if I said I had custom reports or standard reports, I obviously got custom reports, right? And we have the ability for you to build your own report templates and customize, either start with one of our reports and modify it, or build your own report from scratch based on 285 plus metrics that you have in place. And in all cases, those reports can be scheduled to run auto-magically. So they'll come out, show up in an email someplace, or you can actually push them out via secure FTP to a customer site or something like that. So visibility and reporting is usually, if not the biggest problem, one of the biggest problems of every customer. So it's usually a great place to start that we look in place. So let's do this. Let's look at a couple interactions that are going here. I'm logged in as an agent here, and I'm idling unavailable that's in place, and I have a couple of chats waiting for me. So actually, where's my other end of my chat? So somebody's gone out to my website that I have someplace. In this case, this guy, let's make it look like this. So they've gone to my website, they've clicked on it. I'd like to chat with your company. You launched your little chat interface. This is customizable too. You can have your logos and names and colors and changes on here. And when I go available as an agent, this guy's been waiting for me, and now I've have his introduction. And so I can do things like use quick reply options. You saw that automated response that came up. So when it got assigned to me as an agent, it plucked my name and did a response. That's an example of our smart IVR chatting capabilities that we have in place. So I just asked for the person's name on the way in, but I might ask them for more information hey, what's your account number? Or how can I help you today? And give them a drop-down list of items or any kind of things. Our smart IVR has the ability to do that kind of sorting and applying across all of those activities across all those media types. So what I can do in a chat, I can probably do on a phone call, and I can do with an email or an SMS message or a social media account, that sort of thing. So all of that's part of RingCentral Contact Center that we have in place. So as you can see, I've got a second chat that opened up here that stacked into my environment, and I can handle multiple chats at a time. In this case, I've got 2 of them running, so I can come back here to this and be working with those activities. I can transfer this interaction around to other queues that I have of agents that work on chats. I can actually see my other agents that are doing things. And if I was on a phone call, I could actually see the status of the agents who are non-contact center agents, but do use RingCentral Office, the UCaaS part of our product. So I can see, this is the equivalent of the busy lamp field on that handset sitting on that desk. So I can see if somebody's there or not, or available to take those calls. So I can transfer these Yep.
So Ross, that integration's real nice, right? Because otherwise,
yeah,
lots of other solutions, they basically have a UCaaS solution and then they have a contact center solution, right? And
correct.
the two don't really talk with one another. So the agent would have to have two apps running on their desktop, and they would have to have 2 licenses, and and so on and so forth. So condensing that so you actually see the corporate folks as well as the contact centers folks is a big deal, right?
And we do those fun things with other applications too. You may have a customer that wants to use RingCentral for the audio, and they want to use RingCentral Contact Center, but they want to stay with Teams for their collaboration. We'll integrate with Teams. We'll do that presence sync in there, and we'll do those kinds of activities too. We can also enable Teams to actually be a decent phone system too. So you can have RingCentral be the transport underneath and have your customer living and breathing in their Microsoft Teams interface. But instead of that, kind of best effort thing that they do for audio, you can get our 5.9 service powering that underside. So a lot of options and friendliness that we have with working with other applications. And we can do the same thing with integrating things into the interaction flow that's going on. So when I say interaction flow, maybe during a call, I want to go take a payment from an IVR, but I don't want to be the agent involved. So what I can do, we have a function here called launch, and we can use that to launch new activities that are in place. So instead of new commitment, maybe it says make a payment. And what it does is it routes this back to the IVR to collect and make that payment and give that agent a confirmation that it was paid, or route it someplace else. So I've got the ability to do agent initiated things. So as an agent, maybe I launch an FAQ or something I need to see and use, or pop the screen in Salesforce to help this customer. Whatever I can do, we can automate all that workflow that we have in place. And for doing something like working with Salesforce, for instance, we can actually embed this agent console right here in Salesforce. So here's the same thing running inside of Salesforce. And so, whether I run my agent console is in, a lot of Salesforce shops, we pay a lot of money for Salesforce, so we want everything in Salesforce, please, that they have in place. We can do that. And so information on a call when the interaction's over, let me go ahead and end this chat. When the interaction's over, we go ahead and memorialize that information into, let me go back available, and then it will write it in here. Memorialize that information. I got too many windows open here. Sorry, hold on. Shrink that. There we go. So memorialize it into here and push that data into Salesforce. And then maybe I want to do my reporting out of Salesforce instead of looking at our great dashboards. I want to build dashboards in my platform. Somebody's been busy here. Let's look at this one. That shows me, this is ACD data pushed into Salesforce, and now I'm using Salesforce to report on that data that's in place. So a lot of flexibility on where the data is, whether we push it right in their CRM, do they want to look it over there? Do I want to report it on my side? Do we want to work with Salesforce and their omnichannel instead of running emails and chats through our platform? We support all of those capabilities in the platform.
So Ross, obviously we got started a little late, but
Yep.
I would just, it's 1 o'clock now. I guess if you were gonna show me, revolutionizing your customer relationships, if you were gonna show me one or one or two things, which would really change that customer experience and that customer relationship, what would it be?
So that is typically around how does the experience come in. So when you change the customer experience, typically you're doing two things. Number one is you're either customizing their chat. So literally, I dial the phone and it says, "Hey Ross, nice to see you again. I see that there's an open ticket involved. Are you calling in to talk about that open service ticket, or would you like to do something else today?" No agent yet involved, but I got a personal greeting, and it's very focused on what I'm doing. And we do that within our interaction management tool called Studio, and it looks a little like this that's in place. So this is Studio, and the interactions come in and flow through these environments. And so one of our secret weapons is our ability to integrate with any third-party application to use our chatbots, somebody else's chatbots, somebody else's voice biometrics, do authentication through us. We can totally customize those environments and build in any level of sophistication that you're looking for to enhance that experience. Nobody can touch this. People get close, they can do pieces and parts, but basically if it's got a REST or SOAP API, a SQL database, or ODBC compliant Microsoft-like database, we can read and write to it if we can get to it. And we can use that information or work with that application to enhance the workflow that it comes in. So a phone call rings, and maybe the first thing I do in the phone call when I present it to the agent is I give them the ability to see in a window, in a panel right next to it, that says, this person, I'm using, let's say, PinDrop or Voice AI or somebody like that. And it comes in and says, I've already authenticated this user as being a valid person. And I also fill out that information that they got these 3 open tickets or these services or whatever I need. So what I can do is via my Studio application, I can do those authentications. I can do those automated interactions that I need to do, and I can present the appropriate resources to the agent. So 2 things happen. One is I get a highly specialized, customized experience for the patron, and I also get a very efficient use of information by my agent. So I shrink my handle times, I raise my level of quality for the agents, and all of that gives me happy customers and lower costs that are in place.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that looks quite powerful, that tool. I like the flow, these flow diagrams. It's so much easier. It's like
yeah, so this is actually a flow for I'm on a call and I'm going to take a payment. So the agent uses that launch button and clicks on take a payment. And this unlink command basically is taking the agent off the call, and the agent's free to go do something else. And then this takes over and does the payment information through the platform. And then this isn't my script. Let's see what it does here at the end. So it gives them some other agents some options when it's done. So he gets affirmative, plays the ethno-funk music, so you can pick the different kinds of music and stuff and hold. And we've got decisions we make about those things. And when it's done, it plays the message and either allows them to drop back in, go back to that same agent, or go to a different agent, or just drop the call and do something else that's in place. A lot of sophistication. The good news is we'll build that for your customer. So when you sell a system, we go through the implementation and design. We hand them the keys to a fully functioning system that meets all their requirements, and they have full access to run that platform as much or as little as they want. So they can run it all and do it all, or they can have us do it, or you guys do it, or whomever.
Yeah, we've definitely got probably a mixture of partners and clients and client prospects on the call. So it's yeah, there's definitely some flexibility around how much work and management and maintenance they want to do versus just letting Ring handle it, right?
Correct. Yep. Okay. And things happen, right? You may have your own staff that's great, and somebody decides they're going to go travel the world for a year. That guy leaves, and another guy moves to another state, and suddenly all your expertise just left. Uh-oh. The nice thing about our service contracts is they're a month-to-month kind of arrangement, and so you could crank it up and have us help and train your new people for 2-3 months, and then when you get your new staff on board, turn it back down.
Yeah, that's definitely that flexibility is awesome.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Thank you, Ross.
does anyone have any questions while Ross is here? Okay. All right. Well,
And Sam, what we can do in the future, for this, if anybody does have questions that come in and, email them over to you, it'd be great to set up a little form that we can reply back out to everybody, showing what type of questions did come in and the types of responses we can give back to them. So we can always do some great follow-up after that.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thanks, Matt. So, 2 slides to finish. Key takeaways. Obviously, cloud contact center is the future. It's here. The premise-based phone solutions are bankrupt or acquired and transitioning to generating their own sort of cloud solutions or partnering with folks like Ring to actually provide a cloud solution. So, that's definitely it's here. It is cloud. That is the way contact centers will be. Secondly, the adoption is very much mainstream and the rates are increasing exponentially due to COVID-19. And thirdly, it's all about experiences, customer and agent or employee experiences. So how does the solution that you select enable those things to be improved, right? So those are the things to take away. And then as far as how do you get started evaluating all the different options? So as I said, we have an interactive quick assessment, which we can send you. It probably takes 10 to 15 minutes to fill out. It's just a real high level assessment of what your requirements are and your needs. And once you submit that, our team of engineers will then evaluate your requirements and your priorities against the different solution providers' capabilities and produce you a short list of providers to consider. So our recommendation, how to get started, just drop a note or give us a call at any of those numbers or any of those email addresses, and we will send over the link for the CCaaS quick assessment. And once we're there, our team of engineers will do an awesome job fast tracking you to a short list of providers to consider. And then obviously we'll be there the whole way through your evaluation, help you do that evaluation process, help you negotiate pricing, help you oversee the implementation, and so on and so forth to ensure your success. So with that, again, one last thanks to the team over at RingCentral. Apologies for the hiccups with some folks having difficulty getting on to begin with. We really hope you took something away from this, and we'd encourage you to tune in again to future lunchtime webinars. This webinar was recorded, and it will be a link to it will be emailed to you once it's posted. Thanks again for everyone's time. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.